Thank you again for joining RPI Consultants Webinar Wednesdays. Today's presentation is around PROFORMA, which is a piece of software that RPI has created for rapid form deployment. A few housekeeping items real quick. This webinar will be recorded and shared on our website and our YouTube channel, so feel free to access it there for future reference. The slide deck and the demonstration video will be sent out to all attendees, so don't feel like you have to screenshot anything. We have someone standing by to answer questions throughout the presentation. So feel free to use the little question window inside of the GoToWebinar application to submit questions. Finally, please feel free to provide feedback for any future webinars or presentations we can give. We love to create the content that our clients really need. First, a little bit about me. My name is John Marneyand, the Manager of Solution Delivery here on the imaging team at RPI. Over 7 years of experience with OCR implementations and designs, ECM implementations and designs. A significant amount of my background is in with healthcare organizations and with other back office type implementations, especially around accounts payable. Enjoy spending my free time grilling, playing board games with my wife and friends, and proud alumni of Kansas State.
My name is Abbey Oliver. I'm a senior consultant here at RPI, and I have about 5 years experience both designing and implementing custom solutions as well as our standard solutions. I was also a former consultant at Perceptive Software, and I'm a very proud Kansas Jayhawk and also a proud mom to an English Springer Spaniel. So a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. We're going to kind of go over what RPI does in general and then lead into what PROFORMA is. So we'll dig into the features, the technology, architecture, and then end with a demonstration. And of course, at the end, if you have any questions, please feel free to submit those.
We'll close out with some pricing information. So a bit about RPI. What can you tell us, Abbey?
So we have about 80 full-time consultants here, and that also includes project managers and technical architects. And we're very proud of our 16 years of experience with ERP and ECM consulting. And then we also have a couple offices located in Baltimore, Tampa, and Kansas City.
We do a lot of different things, provide a lot of different services for our clients, but the highlights there, we do a lot of upgrades and installations. Our main purpose of our business is for business process automation. So helping automate those processes within your business that are highly manual or time consuming. We provide workflow designs and redesigns, custom development, and of course, platform migrations. Right now, the hot topic is Perceptive to OnBase. Okay, so PROFORMA. What is PROFORMA?
So PROFORMA is a rapid deployment platform that will allow you to build forms within minutes. And you can publish these forms both internally and externally outside of your organization. And we can also integrate PROFORMA directly with Perceptive content and Highland OnBase. And the benefit is with little to no programming experience, you can build and publish these forms with a user such as like a super user type role. And also PROFORMA can be used in virtually any industry, so we can fit your business needs. To kind of dig into some of the features of PROFORMA, it's a very, very user-friendly platform. We provide tooltips and custom error messages along with data validation and the option to set required fields. You can also utilize some of the security and conditional formatting options. And then John will.
Yeah, so one of the great things about the PROFORMA forms are that they're device agnostic. And what that means is that one form should display or have a similar user experience across any platform. Whether you're using a computer browser, a phone browser, a tablet, the form will work the same way. And it's able to do that because the forms are built on an HTML5 front end. That also means that there's no Java requirement, there's no Silverlight requirement, no Flash. There should be no additional software you need other than a modern browser. And the forms themselves can be framed into another web application. So if you wanted to embed this inside of another process, you can. The forms or the fields in the PROFORMA forms can be mapped directly to data points in other systems through a web service call or database entry. So in Perceptive, we can map fields directly to index keys and custom properties. In OnBase, we can map directly to keywords. Kofax, we can do similar things, but also directly into an ERP. So if I had something like a check request that I wanted to set up a form for, I could have that directly into my financial system, say in Lawson. Like I said, web service or SQL calls can be built right into the form fields. And this can be done, like Abbey said, with little to no programming experience. It's meant to be sort of a business analyst type role to build the forms. Another feature is that a web form can actually be transformed into a predefined document format, such as legal documents like a W-9, so that the form interface can be whatever you want it to look like in PROFORMA, and then it translates into the official form once it's been submitted. And then the PROFORMA system integrates with AssureSign for e-signatures. We could also do something like DocuSign, but AssureSign is what we've gone forward with so far. PROFORMA Technology. Let's talk a little bit about what's behind the forms. So you can actually customize the forms. If you wanted to dive into the code, you could. And if you wanted to give it a specific look and feel, you can do that with a custom style sheet. The way that the fields all relate to each other is done in a language called XPath. It's really not as scary as it sounds. It is well documented, so you can do field calculations, make conditional statements, perform validation on the user entry, etc. There's a very, very simple interface, and you'll see this in our demo. For sending form data to custom properties and index keys in Perceptive or in keywords in OnBase. That is one of the main drivers behind us making this software, was the ability to directly integrate into the ECM systems. And finally, the form itself, even though when we submit it to another system, if we wanted to save it, it saves it as an image or a PDF. We can actually keep that form alive for future editing and build some workflow around it.
And now we'll dig in a little bit of the architecture. So you have the option to deploy this either on-premise, or RPI would be happy to host your PROFORMA platform and manage it as well. And a benefit is, since form submissions are generally kind of not very resource intensive, the server does not require a lot of manpower or needs to be very robust. And then many of our clients question how to securely expose the server to the internet for external forms, and we would do so by using a reverse proxy, and of course we would help you set this up.
Right. So we're going to do a bit of a demonstration. This video is about 10 minutes long, but I'm going to build out a sort of a human resources job application type form, and you'll get to see that. Hello, and welcome to RPI Consultants' demonstration of PROFORMA. PROFORMA is a rapid deployment forms utility to be used for quickly building and deploying forms for your organization. This demonstration is going to go over how to quickly build a job application form just as a demonstration, and show some of the features of PROFORMA. What you're seeing here is the PROFORMA demo website. On the left, you have a toolbox that has a number of different field types in it, from text fields to pre-formatted fields for numbers, currency, or phone numbers, date, times, etc., on down to more advanced usage, such as allowing connectivity to a database or scripting certain actions. Here in the main area, you have the actual form canvas. This is where we're going to be building everything. Along the bottom, you have the ability to start a new form, test the form you're currently working with, or save or publish this form. So as I said, we're going to be building a job application. So quickly, this should only take about 10 minutes to build a whole functional form. I'm going to start by titling this first section. This is what we start with. So I'll say applicant information. And then in this first field, this is a text box, so I'm going to enter a label, name of position. I want to actually add a field to the right of that for the desired wage, so I'm going to click this insert column. And in this box, I will come over here to my toolbox. I'll select the box where I want it to appear. I want to make this a currency.
say desired hourly wage. And then on the right, I'm going to say desired, I want this desired start date. So I'm going to do a drop-down date, say desired start date. All right. So that's the first part. Then I'm going to add a whole nother row here so I can start capturing applicant information. Add a row, select the first field. I'm going to capture the applicant's name. So I'm going to add a text field, last name, another text field, first name, and finally a third text field for middle name. And then I want another row, so I'll click the down arrow over here. And you'll see as I mouse over various sections of the form, different options pop up. If I needed to delete a field, I could click the icon next to it here, and that would just delete it. And then the options for a field are in the little gear icon on that field. We'll dive into that here shortly. And then finally, another row for phone number. So I'm going to say I have a control field here for phone number. Just like that. Say phone number. To the right of that, I'll add an email address. And to the right of that, I'll do a segment for November. Okay. Now I have a few questions I want my applicant to answer as well. That I can, yes or no questions that I can use to drive other actions in the form or for my business decisions. So I'm going to add one more row for applicant information. I'm going to use a yes/no answer and say, are you eligible? Yes. Pretty common application question. I'm going to add another one that says, are you able to provide a valid driver's license? And then a third question, are you available to work? Okay, now maybe I want to add some instructions to this form so that anybody who's happened upon it knows what they should be doing to fill it out. So maybe I add a row here at the top where I can enter some text, right, just for some instructions. Now I need another section. I want to capture references for the applicant. So I'm going to add a whole new section. I'm going to come to the top of my toolbox here, click New Section. I'm going to name this Professional References. And for this, I want a repeating section of fields so that they can add as many or as few as they want. And we can actually even set a minimum required number. So if you want 3 references, you can set that up. But here I'm going to add a new repeated grid to delete the blank section. Okay. And in here, I want to add 3 columns. So I'll do that. Click the arrow twice. And I'm going to add a couple text fields. So the first one is reference name. The second one is relationship to reference. And then in the third column, I just want a phone number. So I'm going to do US phone number. That's a contact number. Okay. Finally, I want to add the ability for, or even a requirement for my applicant to attach a resume and maybe even a driver's license. So I'm going to add another section and title it Attachments. And I'm going to give it 2 columns. And in the first one, I'm going to come down here to the bottom of my toolbox and select File Attachment. I'm going to call it Attach Resume. All right. And I'm going to go into the settings. I'm going to say that it is required so that they have to attach at least a file. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here for file attachment. Attach driver's license. Okay. Now, maybe I only want that driver's license to be attached if they answer this question in the first section, are you able to provide a valid driver's license? Maybe I only want it to be visible if that's the case. Here's where we get into some of the cool features of the PROFORMA forms that are really easy to build out without really programming knowledge or anything like that. What I need to do is come up here and name this field, and it's good practice to name all of the fields anyway. But to name it, I'll go into the settings. I'm going to call this driver's license question. I'm going to copy that. Hit apply. And come down to the field that I want to be conditional on whether how that question has been answered. Go into the settings for it. I'm going to go to the validations and alerts. I'm sorry, into the formulas section. And you see the visibility here. All I have to do is type $, DL question, the name of that field, equals true. And what this is going to do is make that field visible based on the answer to this question. Now, maybe I also want to make it only required if that question has been answered true. So I'm going to come over to validations and alerts. On my required section here, I'm going to select formula instead of yes or no. And I'm going to say the same thing that I did on the visibility. Okay. So I'm going to test this form real quick. So I'm going to fill out, and the field name of position is manager. Hourly wage, 10 or 20. All right, so I filled it out. I'm going to say, yes, I'm eligible for employment. No, I'm not able to provide a valid driver's license. And yes, I'm available to work overtime. Okay. I provide a reference. And then in the next section, see how the driver's license question is in here. I'm going to go ahead and attach a file. Attached to the form now. But I want to go back just to display how this works. I'm going to change my question on this driver's license question to yes. And now you'll see in the attachment section that this document or this attached driver's license attachment is here and is required. So I'm going to come and also attach something there. So then I'm able to, I would have a submit button here if this were published. I'd be able to submit it and it would give me a confirmation. So that's a quick form. There are a lot of other features available in PROFORMA. For example, if I want to map this document into a content management system such as Perceptive, what I can do is actually just based on the name of the field here, we can map that information over into Perceptive as long as we configured our connection on the server side. So what I would do is if I wanted this, let's say I had last name as one of the index keys, I would name this last name field, let's say field 3. So on the document, you've got fields 1 through 5. So this is field 3, and as long as that field is named just like that, this will actually map directly to the index key. Similarly, we can do custom properties by map to custom properties by typing CP underscore and then the custom property name. So, right. We also offer integration directly with OnBase. We can apply documents directly into there using keywords. And there are a lot of other features such as the ability to perform a database lookup. I can actually, let's say I wanted to enter, I was already an employee, I want to enter my employee ID and retrieve my employee information. I could do that. There's a lot more in the way of customization you can do on the form itself. Additionally, you can support multiple languages on the form by adding a language, and then you can also, if you really want to, customize the look and feel of the form by actually editing the code of the form directly, which you can see is populated here in the source code. So a lot of power, but really easy and simple for end users to pick up. Thank you.
All right, so that was our demonstration. To wrap up here, we have just a few considerations for you before we take questions. PROFORMA is not a cost per submission pricing model. Other similar softwares are priced per form submitted. We found that became way too expensive for most organizations that really needed software like this. So PROFORMA is unlimited users, unlimited forms, and unlimited submissions. The price for PROFORMA is $35,000 for the initial license, and then a 20% SMSA annually after that. That upfront price includes 40 hours of services time for the setup of the application and for some basic training. As an add-on, the AssureSign integration is available, and that is $1 per transaction. That is unlimited signatures per transaction, however, and they're purchased in 5,000 transaction packs. So that is the presentation on PROFORMA. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, so feel free to enter questions into your GoToMeeting there. We have a couple here. First question is, does PROFORMA work with systems like OnBase or Lawson?
Yeah, definitely. PROFORMA we built specifically to integrate really well into OnBase. You can submit a document in PROFORMA, and as long as the server is configured, it will automatically create a document in OnBase with form fields populating the keyword values. And we can really do that with any system.
Okay, and is PROFORMA browser specific?
No, definitely not. So PROFORMA is an HTML5 front end, meaning that, and back end really, so the form designer as well as the forms being served up can be run on any browser.
All right, thank you guys. Those are all the questions we have. If anybody else has anything, feel free to email RPI Consultants. We can get those answers out to you.
Thank you.